When people talk about the cost of having a baby, they usually talk about diapers, formula, cribs, and strollers. And don't get me wrong, those things absolutely cost money. But after becoming a dad, I realized something. The biggest financial impacts weren't the things I bought. They were the expenses and lifestyle changes nobody warned me about. The hidden costs, the costs that don't show up on the baby registry. So today, I want to share 5 financial surprises I personally experienced after becoming a dad here in Canada. Not to scare anyone, because becoming a parent has been the best thing that ever happened to me. Surprise number one: daycare starts costing you before your child even attends. So let's start with daycare. Most people know daycare is expensive. What surprised me wasn't the price, it was how early you need to start thinking about it. In many parts of Canada, especially in cities like Toronto, daycare spots can be incredibly difficult to secure. Some parents start putting their names on wait lists way before their child is ever born. Think about it. Your baby hasn't arrived yet, and you're already planning childcare months or even years in advance. And if you don't get into the preferred daycare, you may end up paying significantly more for private alternatives, or dealing with longer commutes, or adjusting work schedules. The financial cost isn't just the daycare fee itself, it's the lack of options if you don't plan ahead. That was a huge surprise for me. Surprise number two: your transportation costs quietly go up. Before becoming a parent, I never thought much about transportation costs. But babies come with gear, and lots of gear: car seats, stroller, diaper bags, extra clothing, emergency supplies. Suddenly, every trip requires planning. You may find yourself driving more often instead of taking public transit. You may take more frequent trips to stores, more appointments, more visits to doctors and specialists, more parking fees, more gas, more vehicle wear and tear. It's not one huge expense, it's death by a thousand cuts. Individually, these costs seem small, but over a year, they can add up to hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And we're not even talking about upgrading your car if you need to. Surprise number three: convenience becomes very expensive. This was probably the biggest surprise for me. Before having a baby, I thought I was a fairly disciplined spender. But sleep deprivation changes everything. When you're exhausted after a rough night, convenience suddenly becomes much more valuable. Food delivery, takeout, online shopping, paying extra for home delivery, paying extra to avoid store trips, paying extra because you simply don't have the energy. Babies don't always make you buy more things, but they make you pay more for convenience. And honestly, sometimes it's worth it. The key is simply recognizing that these costs exist because they're easy to overlook. You don't notice one extra delivery fee, you don't notice one rushed online purchase, but over months, they absolutely impact your budget. Surprise number four: sick days have a cost. Here's one that doesn't get talked about enough. Babies get sick. And when babies get sick, parents often get sick too, especially once daycare enters into the picture. Suddenly, you're dealing with doctor visits, pharmacy runs, time off work, canceled plans, missed opportunities, and sometimes reduced income depending on your situation. The direct financial costs might not be huge, but the indirect costs can be significant. Time is valuable, energy is valuable, and when your family is sick, both become limited. Nobody warned me how much of parenthood involves simply adapting to unexpected disruptions. Surprise number five: you lose financial flexibility. This was the most emotional surprise for me. Before becoming a dad, many financial decisions only affected me. If I made a mistake, I could recover. If I wanted to take a risk, I could take it. If I wanted to spend money on something unnecessary, nobody else was impacted. That changes when you have a child. Suddenly, every financial decision feels more important. You start thinking differently about your emergency funds, job security, insurance, savings, investments, not because you're afraid, but because someone depends on you. And honestly, that's one of the reasons I've become more focused on personal finance since becoming a dad. The goal isn't becoming rich, the goal is creating options for your family, options during emergencies, options during difficult times. And that's what financial security means to me today. So, when people ask me how much a baby costs, my answer is always the same. The diapers matter, the formula matters, daycare matters, but the biggest financial surprises are often the ones no one talks about. The hidden costs of convenience, the transportation costs, the sick days, the wait lists, and the loss of flexibility that comes with having another person relying on you. If you're already a parent, let me know in the comments what financial surprise caught you off guard after having a child. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.